Etteeka ligamba nti omuntu yenna atayise mu kakungunta kano Speaker ajja kuwandiikira eyabawa ebifo bino amugambe nti ono noono baliko ebibuuza tebayise mu kakungunta oba etteeka ligamba ne bwe liti obuvunaanyizibwa Speaker yabulina era akakasa ajja kuwa report. Today and tomorrow we are vetting people that were designated as cabinet ministers, ministers of state. The spokesperson of the appointments committee is the Speaker of Parliament. He's the one who will determine how to communicate, but he also must give a report to the appointing authority that sent these people. But what I can say is really what has been in the public domain. Questions of law. There are clarified positions in the law. For example, for one to be government chief whip, you must be a member of parliament. Honorable Kasule Lumumba had been appointed to that position, but then she's not a member of parliament. So that was rectified with immediacy. There's also been concerns of people who hold dual citizenship. Some will hear multiple citizenship. The law says they cannot hold certain positions of responsibility, such as cabinet minister or minister of state. We are hoping the same way it was rectified for Honorable Kasule Lumumba. Now she was sent to a different ministry altogether, which doesn't bar her to be an ex-official. So for these who have got dual citizenship, because we have not seen them yet, they have not come yet, my hope is that they will not even show up. You know, that will be rectified because it's a position of the law. It's not debatable. But also, maybe if they want to serve, because I've heard some people say some of these are very good people, qualified and so on, they can serve well in government. Who says they can only serve as ministers? They can serve in other portfolios, in other responsibilities. But maybe if they insist on serving as cabinet ministers, let them first relinquish the citizenship of the other countries. Because you can renounce citizenship and say, okay, now I'm only a Ugandan citizen. Then they would qualify. But if they probably are not willing to do that, and people are saying they're very good, they have to serve, they can serve elsewhere because the law is the law. You know, my thinking is that we should be pettifogging over other matters. Somebody has been occupying this docket. Have they served well? Academic qualifications and so on. You know, not matters of law that are very clear. There are issues like some of these who have either been internal affairs, defense, security, and so on. Some of our concerns, Attorney General, is political prisoners. People that are in jail for 6-7 years, they have not had trial kickoff. And that's outright illegal. You know, others, the Supreme Court declared and said the court-martial, military court-martial, has got no authority over civilians. Now, those people are still held on remand. When we went to the High Court and said, can we seek for bail? The High Court said, but they've not been charged before us. We don't know them. So they remain in limbo. Those issues have got to be remedied. Now, those are the issues that we should be quarreling over, not matters of law to try and break the constitution and so on, because that cannot and should not happen. Well, afterwards, like I've said, the Speaker is the spokesperson of the appointments committee. He will give a report to the appointing authority and perhaps even communicate whatever the outcomes will. Yes, vetting, etandise olunaku olwaleero okusunsula abantu abalondebwa ku bifo ebyobwa minisita ng'akakiiko tuli mu kubasunsula olunaku olwaleero n'olwenkya. Akakiiko kano kalina omwogezi waako ye Speaker wa Parliament. Era ng'oba awo ajja kuvaayo ayanjule ebivudde mu kakiiko ng'amaze okutegeeza yamuwandiikira ebbaluwa ng'amusindikira amannya ag'abantu ab'okuveetinga. Naye ebisinga ku bino ebintu tuzze tubyogerako. So ne bwe soogera ku ebyo necessarily ebibadde mu vetting committee kubanga Speaker yabivunaanyizibwako ebyo, naye ebisinga bibadde byogerebwa mu lwatu abantu ab'enjawulo, ebisaanyizo bye balina y'ensonga lwaki balina okusunsulwa. Ebisaanyizo bye balina bituufu, byenkanankana n'obukulembeze, dockets babataddemu, abalala amateeka gagamba kiwaliwo kati ekibadde nnyo mu public domain nga bannansi bakyogerako nnyo. Kuba etteeka ligamba nti omuntu bw'abanga alina citizenship oba obutuuze obw'amawanga abiri, waliwo ebifo byatakkirizibwa kubeeramu. Kati nga cabinet minister, of course, vice president baani ebifo ebyenjawulo ebyo ate nga tulina bituze tulaba ne mu public domain abantu abamu abalondeddwa nga balina obutuuze w'amawanga abiri. Kakati ensonga ezo zonna nga tulina okuzitunulamu era katusuubire nti etteeka lijja kuweebwa ekitiibwa. Waliwo akikyala abamu nga General Museveni yabakyusa bukyali. Kati etteeka ligamba government chief whip alina okubeera nga memba wa parliament. Kakati basooka kulonda Honorable Kasule Lumumba. Oyo si mubaka wa parliament era ne kitambulirawo ne tugaa nti kino tekikkirizibwa, ne bamukyusizaawo ne bamuwa ekifo ekirala kye baali bamuwadde ne bakiwa Dr. Jane Ruth Aceng. Kati tusuubiranga bannaffe bano abaliko question marks, bannaffe bekimanyikiddwa nti balina obutuuze obw'amawanga abiri tebalina kujja ne wano mu vetting committee. Tetunnabalaba era nze nsuubira tebajja na kujja. Ensonga eyitereezebwe ng'eya Kasule Lumumba bwe yatereezebwa nti ekifo kye baamuwa alina okuba nga memba wa parliament kyatali ne bakikyusaamuko. So kati abo nze nsuubira nti ensonga eyo ejja kutereezebwa tebalina na kujja wano. Tusigale ku bino ebirala nti kaakati ebiwandiiko byo biri bitya, eno ministry gye bakuwadde ogibaddemu oweereza otya. Kati ng'abamu abadde mu ministry za internal affairs, defense, attorney general, abantu be basibye emyaka n'ebisiibo nga bali eyo tebawozesebwa. Abamu kooti ensukkulumu yagamba n'okugamba kooti y'amagye tebavunaanyizibwako, kati bali awo. Kooti y'amagye tebavunaanyizibwako, twagenda mu high court okubasabira beeru, high court n'egamba nti ffe tetubamanyi, tebannabaleeta wano, kati bali awo mu lusuubo. Ensonga ezo nga zitwagala okubeerako n'obuweereza ne zino ez'amateeka eziri clear, ezo zo nze ndaba tetugwanidde na kuzimalirako biseera byaffe. So nga bwe kyali ku Honorable Kasule Lumumba ne bamukyusa, bano bannaffe abalala siganye abamu ku bo bayinza okuba nga balina obusobozi okuweereza eggwanga, naye teeka nti balina kuweereza nga baminisita. Tasobola kuweereza mu kifo ekirala kyonna, bifo mu gavumenti bingi, omuntu wabanga mugezi nnyo ng'alina obusobozi obuweereza. Teeka ki erigamba nti alina kuweereza nga minisita, tasobola kuweereza mu ngeri endala yonna yonna. Oba n'ekirala okwewala okusika omuguwa, lekulira obutuuze obuwa amawanga agamu. Wakati awo ofuuse mutuuze wa ggwanga limu erya Uganda, ojje ng'oli mutuuze wa Uganda yokka, awo etteeka likukkiriza, naye oba tolekulidde obutuuze obw'amawanga amalala. Bannange tomalala biseera byaffe okujja wano, kubanga ekyo kirambikiddwa bulungi mu tteeka, kiri clear.
Abalungi abatuwuliriza era abatulaba, olunaku olwaleero tukyaddeko ewa Sheikh Ashraf Dembe.
Sebo nsanyusa okubalaba. Amannya agange Seeka Ashraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde musomereddwa, tunywa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse, sobola okumulombera edduwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Neetaase enamba yange yeeno eri 0707363711. Nammwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala, nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa ey'awamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ministry gye mbaddemu ndozangirese ku musingi mutuufu. Okusooka neenyumiriza nti minisita gwe bataddemu nkoze naye kugani muzimbi era naye akikkiriza. Ndoza ne bwe munayogera naye baga nti omuntu oyo yankwata bulungi, sina kye namukweka, ne muzimba bulungi. Era nasanyuse okuba nti anziridde mu bigere abadde minisita, kuba tubadde tutambula naye buli kimu akimanyi nga bwe kibadde tutambula. Ebyokwenyumirizamu bingi. Ministry emyaka 5 gye mmazeemu, ekisaawe ky'Entebbe ndoza mukiraba kyakyuka, flyover eri wano emugiraba, enguudo za oil zaggwa, era nyawo nnyo okwebaza abayunula abaaliyo nga bakola implementation. Tulina projects eziri mu pipeline zitambula kati ziri nga 23, mbyenyumirizaamu n'ebirala ebigenze maaso. N'okuba nti ministry eyo y'emu ku ministry ezisinga obunene mu gavumenti, kyokka emyaka 5 gye mbaddemu temuwuliddemu buli bwanguzi. Well, it's too early to say what to expect. Usually when I go in a place, I do what we call SWOT, to find out what are the challenges, what is the strength, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities there, and what are the threats which are there. For me, public service is like if I was to compare, compare the functions of government to a functional machine. The analogy I can give is that public service is like the gears which run the machine. If the gears are running well, the machine will be productive. If the gears are not running well, the machine will not be productive. So on that analogy, I'll be based on that to look at how the functions of the public service. Are there areas where we need to oil some of the gears? Are there areas where some gears are rusty and they may need to be replaced? Are there areas where some gears are new? I mean they need totally new gears. We look at that. But as of now, I can't say much because I've not yet gone into the ministry. I can't just say what I've not fully studied. But what I can promise is that I'll try to do all that I'll be able to after understanding how the ministry, the dynamics and how the ministry operates, and also build on the good, what my predecessor has done, what has left behind, because we have not yet even gone through the handover. So possibly there's so many things I'll have to be educated about. So, and the Minister of Works, first of all, I feel proud that I'm leaving behind a very lively ministry with a working force highly motivated. I'm happy that I'm handing over ministry to a person whom I've mentored, and the minister who was a Minister of State for Transport, somebody whom I've mentored since he entered the ministry. He knows all the projects we've been running. I'm proud to see that within the 5 years, the airline is running. Uganda Railways Corporation, which had totally died, is now functional. Yes, there's still a lot to be done, but it's functioning. The Entebbe Airport has changed shape. Kampala, structures like the flyover have made it change face. The oil roads, which we made in the oil belt, again, thanks to the UNORA team, which implemented those projects. All these are areas where I feel proud that I've been party to. I'm leaving behind in the pipeline about 23 projects of new infrastructure roads, a number of ongoing rehabilitation projects, which you possibly know, and I'll be giving the detail of those in my handover. And so I'm really happy to leave. You know, the Baganda have a saying, yeah, all those are the projects I'll be talking.
Munsi buli omwali n'ekirooto kuba kuwaguza kulafuubana n'okulemerako okutuuka ku buwanguzi. Ddala wamma ggwe luba lunaku mulindwa okyasobeddwa eka ne mu kibira nga weebuuza omuntu omutuufu anaakutuusa ku makula g'ebirooto byo oba okooye kuferebwa. Kankwanjulire aba Brand Pro Property Services Limited abeegulidde erinnya mu kutuukiriza ebirooto by'abantu ebyekuusa ku ttaka. Bagula wamu n'okutunda ettaka n'amayumba ku buli luguudo lwa Uganda wamu n'okwetooloola ensi yonna mu mawanga agatali gamu nga USA, India wamu ne Bungereza. Tulina estates eziwedde okuzimbibwa. Gano makula bukula weegulire ennyumba ey'ekirooto kyo olwaleero ku bbeeyi esoboka. Naawe anoonyeeza okupangisa tuzirina ng'ate tusobola n'okukulaakulanya ettaka, amayumba oba estates zo ne zeegombesa buli muntu. Oyagala saveya oba olina ekizibu kyonna nga kyekuusa ku ttaka, bitukwase ng'osirike. Tusangibwa ku MT House ku mwaliiro ogusooka Room 5 ewazana ku Entebbe Road okuliraana ekizimbe kya Muguluma Empire. Osobola okutukubira oba okutuweereza obubaka ku WhatsApp namba zaffe Note 773 206 588 oba Note 703 824 Note 79 ne ku website www.brandpro.co.ug. ate mwe bankuba kyeyo ebyammwe byateredde anti osobola okugula poloti oba okufuna ennyumba n'okomawo nga buli kimu kiri malidaadi saana. Sematuka abafera olwaleero ng'okolagana ne Brand Pro Property Services Limited tutuukiriza birooto.
Nga nyambibwako State House and Corruption ne bakwata kaawe kamuli era ne bamutwala mu kooti n'abalala byakolagana nabo okuba nti babba ssente ezo. So obubbi bwa ssente ababadde bazibba ndowooza mukomye guno omwezi guno financial year ejja tugenda kubeera nga tutambula muluka ku muluka nja kutambula emiruka gya Uganda emiruka omutwalo gumu bo 509 nja gitambula mbuza abatuuze sente zino mwazuulirako mwazirabako bani abazifuna abaluganda oba bakika ewaba nga bakika kyoyo yaziba banga ali omu nga mukozi wa gavumenti okukeeredde so tetuze kufuna bifo ne tuze kutransitinga okujja abantu baffe mu bwavu nga tweyambisa sente nga za PDM okulaba by 2040 nti buli Munnayuganda alina sente buli Munnayuganda mugagga yala okwebaza president PDM yagireeta omwaka ogwedde okusinziira ku UBOS eraga nti PDM yayambako okukendeza okubwavu okuva ku bitundu 3.9 ku buli 100 ne budda ku butundu 3.1 ku buli 100 so singa tuba twongeddemu amaanyi ne tumalawo buli bw'enguzi Abannayuganda bajja kunyumirwa amakubo amalwaliro mu byalo eno gavumenti mugenda ginyumira mwababeera mu byalo muninde
ensonga y'okulondebwa kw'aba LC ozenga eri
kati aba LC1 ye assignment yesooka guno financial year etandise kubanga twafunye sente mu budget eno etandika tugenda kulonda kati ba LC abadde bakozesa stamp mu bukujjukujju ne babba ku bantu banange ebyamwe byemusiba bikutuka bino kubanga bikutuka kubanga tugenda kulonda bachairman ab'abantu bachairman ababadde betezeewo emyaka gino gyonna nga mubadde bachairman naye nga temubba amataka g'abantu nga mwabagaba ebbaluwa ezintroducing abatemu nti batuuze ba ku kyalo kyamu ne baganda ne batemula abantu namwe ennaku zammwe zituuse so abanabeera mu gavumenti eno eya NRM ekisanja kino ekya muzeeyi ekyawatali kweba katulo muteeka amaaso ku lutiime mugenda kunyumirwa kubanga tetuze mu gavumenti kunoonya ssente tuzirina. As a new minister of local government, I will focus on improving service delivery in the districts. I will also try as much as possible to eliminate corruption in the district. Then also I want to remove that habit of keeping people in one position in a district. They become chiefs of districts. How can someone serve 20 years in one single district? Why would ministers be rotated and someone remains in a district? So we need now to rotate, like people appointed by the Service Commission in Masindi, of course with improvement of the Local Government Act, to rotate them to a nearby district. Every 3 years we should rotate these workers so that we remove the network of thieves, people who have been stealing government money. My focus now will focus on following up, guiding, training our local government officers, giving them the necessary training that they deserve, and also ensuring that we follow up on the money that has been sent by the president or by government, central government, to the districts, so that the right beneficiaries benefit that money. So our focus, the fight against corruption, it is now a transition. Now, why I'm appointed in this ministry is transit, to help Museveni with the transition. Many of you love to hear political transition, but you will not achieve a proper political transition unless you have transited unless we transit, we help the poor in the village who make up over 33.1%. We need to help those poor to get out of poverty using the available government programs. So also I'm appealing to the cows and the sub-county chiefs that your time of reporting to office late, coming as on when you wish, it has come to an end. We are going to introduce biometric data entry. As you enter, we count how many times you have worked. We count the days you have reported and the days you have exited. We count those days on a central system, which will be at our Ministry of Local Government. If you miss out on 5 different occasions without permission of the permanent secretary, count yourself out of that ministry. Count yourself out of the district. We need the people who will work for the people. This is a term, no sleep. As we transit to the next generation, LC to election in the nearby future, not very long, not far from now, we have acquired the money that is needed. I want to thank the outgoing minister, my senior colleague, Honorable Raphael Majezi. Before he left, or before he was removed, he had acquired the money. Now what is left is to have the money and give it to the Electoral Commission to go and conduct an election. That is my first assignment, to ensure every village gets a new LC. The LCs who have been stealing people using LC1 stamp, those ones should prepare to exit immediately, honorably. Otherwise, the vote will apply.
I have gone through an interaction with the Appointments Committee regarding my nomination as Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development by His Excellency the President. I have enjoyed the moment, I can say, because the questions the members raised were within the docket of Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, concerned about the economy, how we are going to manage the economy, how we are going to raise the money to finance the budget, how we are going to raise counterpart funding, how we are going to control supplementary budgeting, mainly those ones. So which was a good introduction.
What can show us some of the reforms you are thinking about as a cabinet minister now in charge of this docket?
Thank you very much. My reforms are mainly going to be anchored on 5 pillars, I can say. Pillar number 1 is that we now have to implement the 10-fold growth strategy, which is in place now. We must make sure that the 10-fold growth strategy is implemented so that we raise $500 billion GDP by $500 billion or 500 billion GDP by year 2040. Another key area we shall look at is the domestic revenue mobilization strategy. We previously approved in the ministry the new domestic revenue mobilization strategy, and I will ensure that the task now is to ensure that this is implemented so that we are able to grow the tax to GDP ratio from now 13% to 20% in the next 5 years. Another key area is support to the wealth creation programs which the President has been talking about, mainly the parish development model, which will bring all our households from subsistence economy to now the money economy. We have moved a great mile in as far as this is concerned. About 4.4 trillion is now in the 10,589 parishes that exist now, but we shall also continue prioritizing so that we are able to move the 33% remaining to zero. We want to see every Ugandan involved in the money economy so that we are able to create the desired jobs. That is on top of providing money, other wealth creation funds like Myoga, like the UDB, UDC, the State House fund. All these, we shall fast track them to ensure that they are adequately financed. Another area is budget discipline. We must make sure that the priorities in the budget go to those areas which will stimulate growth, mainly the ATMs and also the enablers. In this regard also, we shall ensure timely audit, especially value for money audits, because we want to see the projects of government moving. Only spending money and the projects get stagnate, they get stuck. For example, if I can say like the Muganga Road project, Muganga Fort Portal Road, you find the project has taken more than even 5 years. So these are the things we must look into and resolve. We must also make sure, we shall make sure that the oil revenues are well managed and are well spent. We don't want to build an economy that depends on oil. We want to be oil producers, but we don't want to have an economy that depends on oil. Oil must be there, support our revenues in the budget, but also other areas of growth. We have a number of areas where we have growth potential. These must also continue. On top of this, we shall ensure that our debt is kept within the manageable levels by trying to ensure that, I think I talked about this, ensuring that we raise the necessary revenues, support our expenditures, and also pursue the idea of mobilizing concessional financing through our partners like World Bank and IMF and African Development Bank. We shall ensure that we mobilize concessional. This depend on availability of cash. Sometimes there is a budget, but we fail to raise adequate resources. Also, prioritization and the planning. We want to strengthen the program-based budgeting so that by the time an item gets into the budget, it is speaking to the plan, it is speaking to the manifesto, and also the resources are available. You don't just do a budget and you don't identify or indicate where the resources are going to come from to finance the budget. So it is the budget and also the source of financing must move together. But that is not the big issue. The biggest issue is, what is this money going to do? That is where the issue of the idea of value for money comes in. We must make sure that funds provided or spent have achieved the desired outcomes. Omukachiko bitambudde bulungi. Speaker ne ba members babadde batubuuza okweyogerako kiki ekitugenda kukola, qualifications ki ze tulina, bambuuziza ku budgeti kiki ekingenda kukola kulaba nti budget y'eggwanga egenda ku ebyo ebireeta entunguuka. Babadde bambuuza kiki ekyenkoze, kiki ekisobodde kukola emyaka gyonna egibadde wano mu palamenti, emyaka 5 egyembadde Minister of State. Babadde babuuza ku mabanja, babadde babuuza tusobola kukola ki kulaba nti tufune sente zaffe ne tukendeeza okwewola. Ng'ebyo bye bambuuziza.
Kyukakyuka ez'omugundu z'oyogeddeko z'oleeta mu Ministry of Finance.
Tugenda kulaba nti ekisooka tulina ekituyita 10-fold growth strategy. Twagala ebyenfuna byaffe tubize ku $500 million, $500 billion by 2040. So ekyo tugenda kulaba nti tuteeka esente nali budget tugenda kuteeka ku ebyo ebigenda kutuwa growth gye twagala. Tugenda kulaba nti esente President yatugambye nti esente azaagala mu wealth creation programs. Tugenda kulaba nti PDM, Parish Development Model, efunye sente. Tugenda kulaba nti emyoga esente tuziteekamu n'endala UDB n'awalala. Tugenda kulaba nti wealth creation programs nga President yatugayidinze, nga President bw'ayagala. Tugenda kulaba nti wealth creation funds zibeerako abantu baffe bave mu kukolera ekidda kyonka bagende mu kukolera esente. Tugenda kulaba nti oil yaffe amavuta galina okulabirirwa bulungi. Esente z'amavuta tulina okuzikozesa bulungi. Tulina okulaba nti amavuta galiwo naye waliwo n'ebirala ebyenfuna ebyagala tuteekemu amaanyi. Tugenda kulaba nti tukuziza emisoro gyaffe, tugenda kulaba nti collectinga esente, tulabe ngu budget yaffe erina okubeera financed by our money, esente zaffe nga tuzikolera wano. Tetwagala kwewola nnyo n'ebirala ng'ebyo.
Mu biseera ebisinga tulaba nga Parliament eyisa ssente ne Ministry n'erwawo okuwaba.
Ministry erwawo kubanga esente tuba nga tukyazimobilizinga. Naye budget okutwalira wamu, bw'olaba budget yaffe by end of June tugifinancinga close to 100%. Ekyo si kizibu nnyo. Kibeerako nga kooti emu oba endala because of cash flow challenges.
Sente z'emikolo byesagamba zigenda kuvaawo, sente z'emikolo okutekereza.
Esente tulina okuziteeka mu priorities eziraba nti ekirooto kyaffe ekyokukuza economy 10 times nga tukituukiriza. So ebintu nga agriculture, nga tourism, nga manufacturing, nga science, ebyo tugenda kubiwa sente. So tulina okulaba nti sente tuzijja mu bintu nga tebi addinga value, netuziteeka mu bintu nga bireeta ki, nga bituwa growth in the economy.
Ansi yonna endala eyabweru okukolagana n'abanyonyodde mu ministry yange erina subsections 3, emu eya cooperatives. So cooperatives tujja kulaba engeri gye twegattamu n'aba MPs abakola mu ministry, tulabe engeri tuyinza okuleeta okukulaakulanya mu abalimi abasobola okukola production. Tulabe production eyo eyingira etya mu industries. So tulina task ey'okuleeta industries, amakolero agagenda okukola ku production eyo gye tugenda okukolamu. And nga industries nga gamaze okukolamu, then products ezinaafulumamu tulina okuzinoonyereza market mu nsi z'ebweru ne mu Uganda muno. Tulabe engeri industries zino zikulaakulanye n'abakozi abakolamu bafunemu bulungi.
Oli otanji ogenda kukiika ne mutabani wo mu house ye12.
Of course waliwo ssanyu, naye jjukira ye baamulonda bulonzi, nze muzeeyi ye yannonda. So waliwo enjawulo ku nsonga ezo. Naye ffenna tulina okukolera abantu b'ettororo n'okukolera abantu b'ensi yaffe e Uganda. Ebola eri obulwadde bwajja buzzi. Naye ng'ensi ya Uganda twasinga mu nsi zonna okulaba engeri gye tulemesa COVID. President waffe ne police ze zaatuyamba ng'abantu mu COVID, ne president bamuwa award. So nina essuubi ate nina okukakasa bu president ne team eriyo ejja kukwata ensonga eyo ya Ebola ejja kuvaayo, ffe tugende mu maaso okukolera abantu, kubanga plan zaffe ziri za wala nnyo, si za short term. Yes, okay, waliwo ensonga ez'enjawulo kyembagambye. Ekyamafuta kikwata ku nsi zonna, kubanga entalo eri mu Gulf countries, ate amafuta agasinga gava mu Gulf countries. Naye nze kyemmanyiiko ate kyenasomyeko, ne Uganda egenda okufuna amafuta agage. So tugezeeko nnyo tusabe n'amafuta gaffe gafulume, ffe tutandike okukozesa gaffe.
Okay, thank you very much. Today we are here to appear before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. I've already passed the Appointments Committee, and I'm very sure I've passed the Appointment Committee because whatever they have asked me, I've passed it. And I'm very happy, I feel happy that the President of Uganda, he has trusted me with the entire Ministry of Action and Transport. I've been a State Minister for Transport, and I do believe he made the right decision for entrusting me. I've been the same ministry, seeing how things are running, and I must take on to move forward. We know Ministry of Works and Transport, one of the major things we normally handle are the roads and the bridges and the entire transport system of the country. But this term of office, the 5 years, number one, our priority is the railway, both standard gauge railway and meter gauge railway, because we have seen the prices of commodities in the country are very high. And these prices of commodities, because they go high because we use high transport cost, transportation of vehicles. Look at the example of Jinja-Malaba Road. So when you bring the railway transport, it will carry a lot of cargo at reduced cost. So one of the priorities is standard gauge railway, the Kampala-Malaba, up to Kenya-Naivasha railway line, and rehabilitation of the meter gauge. Kampala-Malaba, the Tororo-Gulu. That's our first priority. And now our second priority is completing those projects, the tarmacs. You have seen the tarmac road, it takes 4 years, 6 years not finished. Even they abandoned the projects. We have seen the Mubende Mitiana. So to finish those roads which have not yet been finished. For example, the Mubende Mitiana, you have seen it. The Mutukura Road, you have seen it. You have seen the Jinja Express Highway. It should have come as soon as yesterday. So you have to finish all those roads projects, which we started on and then completed. Even the bridges, you have seen the Karuma Bridge is ever a problem all the time. You have seen the one of the Katonga Bridge. We have to finish all those ones. Then in addition, we have to connect our country to other areas. As I speak now, we very soon are going to sign a contract of procuring new aircrafts. Having sorted the problems in the Uganda Airlines, we're going to procure new aircrafts. We are bringing 4 at first, then we shall add 4, then 2. We are procuring 10 aircrafts in a period of time. So those are the major things we have. And another thing, fighting corruption. We have seen our engineers, especially in the road projects, the transport sector, someone to get a contract, you have to pay a percentage. Like if, for example, a contract is for like 30 billion. These younger people, the engineers, play around. They tell you need 6% of this money. In actual senses, that money, once you pay it, you are going to pay indirectly. It will affect you in your project. So this Sanja, we must fight for corruption. Corruption from engineers, corruption from the transport sector, so that we get money to complete most of these projects. We have seen even our roads, they are done, we commission them, but they get worn out within 1 or 2 years. That's corruption. Our engineers who supervise them, they pay them, they close their mouth. They pay them, their brain jams for that minute because of money. And they bring government pays when the roads are done in a poor way. We shall not accept that. We are there to correct all of those ones. As the president indicated, Kisanja of fighting corruption, I fought corruption, you know very well. And I know entities in my ministry where corruption is at stake. We shall not kill an eye or the dockets. Whether Uganda Airlines, Civil Aviation Authority, Uganda Railways Corporation, the Decade of Marine Transport, National Roads, we are there. The agenda is to fight corruption so that we can increase the money to finish all these projects. Yes, I'm one of the youngest ministers. I was born in 1991. At 34 years, being elevated from state minister to cabinet minister, one I thank the Lord, who has used His Excellency the President to appoint me. But also, when you look back, I've done a lot for my people. I'm a member of parliament. I've got some of my people from poverty. You know, being poor is not good. I've encouraged my people to come from poverty. And another thing, I've been at stake fighting corruption. So I feel good and I feel happy for the Almighty God having used His Excellency the President to elevate me. And it shows also the younger people. We have to add a milestone. We have to be taught what to do. So I see it is the right decision. And I'm happy for God and happy to accept the President. And I do commit, I will never disappoint this country. And I will never disappoint the appointing authority. The Ministry of Works will perform its best more than even how it has been.
Honorable, what explains the delayed projects that you talked about, especially those roads?
One, the delayed projects, one I attribute to corruption. Our engineers are not as clean as Jesus. Some of them, the delayed projects, you find a contractor has bid for the contract like 20 billion. But in actual senses, those who helped him to achieve a contract, they got like 6% out of that money. So that money only the corrupt people have eaten. It will affect the owner who is executing the project. That one happens. We have also had the other issues like maybe the lack of money. You find the Ministry of Finance has not provided enough funding because the same money has been stolen to other ministries. So it's high time. That's why I told you all of us to combine efforts. When we fight corruption, we shall get enough money to these entities. That's what has affected some delay for these projects. It is a side from our engineers and also side from the contractors themselves. Sometimes they don't know what to do, but because they bribed those procurement people who awarded the contracts, you find someone who has done work but showed the work, and our engineers fail to pass it, so the work stalls. So it is two-sided. Thank you. There are some districts which are big. In addition to the 1 billion, which have been giving them to maintain the roads, we have also, next financial year, increased the budget of road fund. Road fund handles emergency in the districts. We normally send to the district as a grant from road fund, they manage the roads. So next financial year, we shall take to cabinet to request cabinet. We advise cabinet that there are some districts where the 1 billion is not enough. And depending on the way we shall have fought corruption, the money we expect to increase in circulation in both ministries. They can add some money that these do work on the roads. We have seen a problem. Regardless, though, we're going to increase this money, the 1 billion. And at the same time, we have increased the money for road fund. But they also, district officers are corrupt. You find the chairman of C5 has connived with the cow, has connived with the district engineer. The money meant to work on 10 kilometers. For them, they work on only 3 kilometers. The remaining money, they eat it among themselves. I appeal to the district leadership, the councillors, the technical people, the RDCs to fight corruption at district level. Otherwise, you are getting one road is eaten by 3 people, the whole money is eaten by 3 people, and no one reports. As we enhance the budget for the districts to maintain roads, we also have to fight corruption.
I have been vetted by the Appointments Committee on Appointments, and the chairperson, who is the Speaker of National Assembly. We have worked together in various capacities. He was chairman of Parliamentary Committee on Legal Affairs, and consequently, he has knowledge about my capacity to perform. I was Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs when he was chairman of Parliamentary Committee, and we passed a series of very important bills that had been in the pipeline for almost 15 years, including the Management of Judiciary Act, which gave independence to the judiciary, including a package for retired judges and chief justices, and it has enhanced the independence of judiciary to execute its duty. He knows that. He was also a member of Natural Resource Committee when I was Minister of Water and Environment. And we made an impact, both nationally and internationally, because the Paris Agreement on climate change, I negotiated it representing Uganda, and this act has been an international crisis act. To have negotiated it representing Uganda, I think it was good. Internally here, we have done quite a bit in tourism. I think you may want to know that the National Development Plan, the first one, was done under my political leadership. So the conversation was good, was very good. I must also really share with you, members of the press. I think you must wonder how Kamuntu is not a soldier to be Minister of Internal Affairs. How would he manage? I want to share with you the debate. A minister is a leader, is not a manager. I can provide leadership to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And I think some of you also might wonder, I can refer to the Bible. They say God called Moses to lead his people from Egypt to the promised land. And Moses was 80 years at the time he was called. He was a bit frightened, but God said, if I'm with you, you can execute the task I have given you. So my comment on this one is, if God is on my side and the appointing authority is on my side, the chairman of appointments committee and parliament, if Ugandans are on my side, I want to share with you, I have the capacity, determination to execute the mandate of the ministry of 1, preserving your lives, number 2, your property, adhering to the rule of law, and preventing crime. Because internal affairs, as the ministry says, internal affairs means it is a ministry that must guarantee the peace, security, and stability of this country. This is a central ministry. If you talk about protecting the gains and enabling the country to achieve the middle income status, you want a ministry with leadership that you can trust. Thank you very much, guys.
Minister, one thing to go. One honorable Ephraim coming to the good minister. For another ministry, not this ministry which requires no sleep almost. We have to be awake to know what is happening where, to keep us safe and alive. So, are you fit?
If you listen to my words, a minister is a leader. You should be a leader with a sense of humility, a sense of integrity. To lead your troops, coordinate their work, and they execute the mandate of the ministry. I can promise Ugandans that I have the will, the determination, and the capacity to do exactly that. I don't need to be trained in cyber security. All I need is to lead those responsible for these departments. Listen, you have a department of migration control, you have a department of citizen registration, you have even forensic department. My job is simply to coordinate all these guys and they do their job. That's it. And I have done it and I will do it again. With the support, I emphasize, God's support. The support, it is very key. And the support of Ugandans, very fundamental. Uganda is a great country, but we must be aware of its history. We have had a turbulent past, and we must avoid the conflict trap, which becomes vicious. And that can be done if you give a ministry the hands, competent hands, hands that have a sense of humility and integrity. I need your support, members of the press.
Osobola okulondera ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga obudde bwonna oluusi n'oteebaka ng'otukuuma nga tuli balamu n'ebuzibu emisango bukyuse obuba kompyuta balaba omusajja mukama gwakumidde ebbanga eddene.
Ono omusajja simanyi kyoliko naye appointing authority when appointing at this material time teyakoze homework. I'm sure he did. And Uganda baganda bange bw'oba olina obuwagizi bwe Katonda n'oteekako obuwagizi bwe appointing authority abantu be Uganda mwena, look, the rule of law, the rule of law, the prevention of crime is a collective responsibility ya minister yekka, namwe mwina obuvunaanyizibwa. Ekyange okulaba nti coordinating an effort to making Uganda a crime-free country.
Uganda Eyenkya.